Hello and welcome back to Geek Girl TV. This is episode number 23 and as usual I am your Geek Girl host Eve Park. And today is Friday, April 6th, which is not just any day, it's Zach Braff's birthday. They say it's your birthday. Who's Zach Braff? Why, he's the star of Scrubs. I love Scrubs. It's definitely got to be one of my very favorite non-sci-fi network shows. So happy birthday, Zach, from Geek Girl TV. We had another birthday last week. Longtime viewer Carl is now another year older as well. Carl writes in with a special April challenge. Carl writes, "Now I have a question for you. What would your superpowers and your target be if you'd be a super villain? I'd call myself Zero, and my powers would be to take energy from the world around me and use it for myself. Around me, the air would get cold as I absorbed the warmth. Lights would begin to flicker and turn off, and even superheroes would break down facing me, as I don't only steal their specific superpower for some time, but also the energy that keeps the human part of them alive. The calories in their body. My evil target would be to make it to the sun itself and absorb all its energy, what would make me close to immortal, but would have the destruction of that star as its consequence. My problem? I can't fly and I can't use a rocket, because with me in it, it simply wouldn't work." Wow, that's brilliant! Diabolical! So, for this month only, send me not your superhero names and powers, but answer the question, if you were a supervillain, what would your name and powers be? And what would you do with those powers? Why, if Geek Girl were a super evil villain, her power would be to make you go out and buy her action figure, stylus included, thereby making millions on the royalties. Send me your supervillain name, power, and target to geekgirl@clevermedia.com. And extra credit for video submissions. Send it directly to me or upload to YouTube and send me a link. But get working on it. You only have until the end of April to be naughty. Speaking of naughty in April, ThinkGeek did their annual April Fool's Day joke, featuring, of course, the Wii Helm. The Wii Helm is, of course, a helmet on which you can mount the Wiimote, thereby playing the Wii without using your hands. There is a YouTube video in which you can watch the promotional video of the Wii Helm in action. Check it out. And although the rest of the April Fool's Day items weren't cool enough to warrant a whole video, there are several items that I really do wish were real. For example, the Snooze You Lose Wi-Fi donation alarm clock. Every time you hit the snooze bar, money from your checking account is donated to a charity of which you do not approve. That'll get you out of bed. They also had Surge Sticks, which are inhalable caffeine. Last year they did something similar, but it was like an inhaler, as in for asthma. Then there was the 8-bit tie spoof that was in fact so popular that ThinkGeek promises that they'll actually make one. And lastly, there was my favorite, the Lonely Guy Dream Vacation digital picture frame. You just take a picture of yourself in front of a green screen, and then the frame superimposes you in front of exotic locations, or next to the wife and kids you don't have the social skills to have in real life, or next to your supermodel girlfriend. Okay, so it would be kind of silly to buy a gadget like that because digital picture frames are pretty expensive, and a little too expensive for that novelty. However, I think the idea is perfect for a screensaver. World of Warcraft. This week, Pinecone123 writes, "Hi, I'm Pinecone123. I love MMO, RPGs, and RPGs, etc. But I haven't played WoW yet. If you would please, tell me in your next episode what the upsides and downsides of it are. That'd be great. Thanks." Wow, that's a big subject. And I have a lot of praise for WoW, but I'll try to be fair. After talking with Pinecone123 a little bit more, I found out that he plays Star Wars Galaxies. I hated Star Wars Galaxies. The quests were often buggy, and the professions a lot of times were really stupid. In Star Wars Galaxies, you can be a dancer, and you go to a club and you run this dance macro all day long. And when you suck as a dancer, you fall down and you pick yourself back up and you try again until eventually your dancer does the little dance move smoothly. And when you're a good dancer, people around you like heal better or something, so it had some value. But really, a dancer? I couldn't really understand a world where people wanted to be dedicated to things like dancing or singing as like their full-time profession. I mean, it was kind of neat that there were like real people in this universe. Not everybody was a Jedi before they changed everything. But I don't know. It didn't really seem like it was really the right target market group. The Star Wars crowd seems a lot more like they were going for the Second Life kind of a people. In WoW, there are professions like tailoring, skinning, blacksmithing, first aid, cooking, or fishing. However, you also have a class, and that class is much more along the lines of traditional RPGs, such as priest, warrior, paladin, mage. One thing that Star Wars Galaxy did have that WoW lacks is that in Star Wars Galaxies, you could have a house. You could have a house and you could decorate it and you could put stuff in it. However, I'm not here to play house. I'd rather have good quests. I think if you're into that, once again, you probably should be playing Second Life. However, Star Wars did have like the best appearance editor ever. You could change absolutely everything. Color, size, shape, and even after you made your character, in-game you could find tattoo artists to totally give you a new face, or hair stylists to give you new hair, people to design your clothes. What's another game that lets you do all of that? Oh yeah, Second Life. Anyway, I think Blizzard Entertainment is the master when it comes to game balance. And WoW is no exception. In addition, the bugs that I've run into are pretty few and far between. When I do find them, they're pretty minor. I've never run into an entire quest that was broken. That used to happen all the time in Star Wars. One of the biggest differences about WoW, though, is that other MMOs that I've played have just a handful of realms and hundreds of thousands of players. In contrast, WoW has dozens and dozens and dozens of realms, so the world that you play in is a lot smaller. This makes for a much tighter-knit community online. However, the drawback is, if you just meet somebody in the real world who happens to play WoW, the odds are infinitesimal that they happen to be on your server. For example, out of all the people that watch Geek Girl, I think only one of them is on Dark Iron with me. If it was a game that had fewer but larger servers, I could organize a raid with my viewers. WoW is pretty friendly to alts as well. You can have more than one character per server, and if the characters are on the same server, you can mail items from one character to another. Also, WoW is the serious MMO most friendly to casual players, because they have what's called the rested bonus. When your character is rested, it gains 200% more experience points for each kill. That means that it's more efficient to take a break every once in a while than being a freaky-deaky grindaholic. Which means people like me who do have a little bit of a life can do other things and play other games. However, if you are a grindaholic, I get the impression that if you started WoW today, you'd reach the level cap a whole lot faster than you would in another MMO. But just because you're level 70 doesn't mean that you've run out of things to do. There's alts, there's PvP, and there's playing on another realm as the other side. WoW just has so much to offer, it's definitely the MMO for me. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree? Let me know. Send me your questions, comments to geekgirl@clevermedia.com. And don't forget, be thinking about your supervillain power. Until next week, so say we all.